Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to Mallorca in the Baleric Islands once again, just off the east coast of Spain, and we're going to return to a brewery that I only introduced you to for the first time a couple of videos back, but I was quite impressed with the last beer that I had from them, a really nice kind of old school nostalgic American pale ale. So for this review we are going to return to the little village of Maria de Salut in the eastern part of Mallorca, and we're trying another beer from Cerveza Ralf. This one is the Commandante, and it's an American style amber beer coming in at 5.4% ABV. Now this is a style that you don't see all that much of these days, but I've always been a big fan of my Imperial Red Ales and American Reds and American Ambers and stuff, so I'm really quite curious to see how this one turns out. So looking forward to trying this one, and as always I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Cerveza Ralf before. This will probably be the last one for a little while, but hopefully in the future we can add some more. There's all the usual social media down there too. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Spanish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Cerveza Ralf then, on to my brewery notes. So as I mentioned to you at the start of the video, Cerveza Ralf are based in the little village of Maria de Salut on Mallorca, and it's kind of over on the eastern side of the island if you like, but this is in the Baleric Islands just off the east coast of Spain obviously. The other two Baleric Islands are Menorca and Ibiza, and there's a few other little ones dotted around there as well. Somewhere that I've never been. Spain is a little bit of an unknown place to me. I've only ever been to Tenerife and the Canaries of course. But the company itself was founded by the German Ralf Brede, who had trained in brewing and malting in Hamburg and Bremen back in his native Germany, and he's joined by Mallorcan partner Johan van Rel. So Ralf is from Hamburg originally, and he worked at the Elbschloss brewery in the city, and also for periods with breweries in Japan and also in Spain as well. But he's now lived in Mallorca for over 20 years, and he's been brewing beers under the name Cerveza Ralf since 2016. Apparently the name for the brewery just came because the locals called the beers Ralf, and he decided, well, you know, it's becoming a little bit more well known, we can't really change that, and he went with it and officially registered the name of the company as Cerveza Ralf. From what I understand, these guys got a really good deal on their brewing equipment. They paid about 60,000 euros for what they have just now, but they brew around 20 hectolitres of beer per year, so it's still a very kind of modest operation if you like, and I think he only works part-time at the brewery and just, you know, does it when he has time for it. But as of November 2019, when I'm filming this review for you, Cerveza Ralf have produced 3 beers. There's the Tuareg, which you've seen me review before. That was an American Pale Ale. There's this one, the Commandante, which is an American Amber, and there's another IPA that is apparently only for keg at the moment, but maybe they'll release it in the future as a bottled beer. We'll just need to wait and see. So yeah, this is the second of only 2 bottled beers that you can get from these guys. So I've reviewed pretty much everything that these guys have on offer at the moment. But yeah, that was all the information I was really able to find on Cerveza Ralf. As I say, I was impressed with the last beer that I did, so I've got high hopes for this one. But definitely cool to try something from the Baleric Islands. I think in Mallorca there must be about 6 or so different little craft breweries. I know that there's one called Beer Koenig, and there seems to be a little bit of a community of German brewers on the Baleric Islands as well. So yeah, kind of interesting that. There's a lot of Germans down in the Canary Islands too actually. They like to go and get their sun, I'm sure. So yeah, a good future for craft beer on the Baleric Islands I think, so we'll need to keep an eye on that and see how we go on. Like I said, hopefully I can visit there at some point in the future. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Cerveza Ralf for the moment. If you want to learn more, check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out their Rate Beer and Untappd pages as well. But they've only produced 3 beers so far, so compared to other breweries maybe those aren't quite as useful. But yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this beer then and see how we do with it. So as you can see, the artwork on this one It's fairly simple, but it's still quite nice and quite effective. It's quite minimalist, like you're getting from a lot of breweries these days. It says that this one is hopped with Chinook and Summit. Chinook, of course, is the big high alpha acid hop. I'm sure that's around 11% alpha acid or something, but it's that big sort of piney, resiny, dark grapefruity one. And Summit's quite an interesting one. It's a little dwarf hop variety. And usually it gives you a kind of orangey and grapefruity flavour actually. So this one I think will again be some kind of old school type American amber actually. So yeah, curious to see how it turns out. But there's just a little look at the artwork for you again, the Ralf, and you can see Commandante at the top. The other one, the Tuareg, had a yellow star on it, so this one is the red beer if you like. But there you can see plain red solid bottle cap on this one. Doesn't really say very much about it on the side here. It says 37 IBUs, 13 degrees Plato and 5.4% alcohol. So yeah, curious to see how it turns out. But without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. A huge thank you once again to my friend Hannah, who brought this beer back with her from Mallorca when she was doing a little dancing trip there. So awesome to be able to review something a little bit different for you. And it's always cool to have followers of the channel and friends who'll help keep your habit going if you like. So yeah, but yeah, as you can see with this beer, it's pouring a really nice kind of murky blood orangey colour actually, almost a little bit mahogany. We'll shine it up to the light and see how we get on. But yeah, there you can see, nice and out into the glass at the moment. But if I put the light through this beer, yeah, it's almost a kind of light mahogany kind of colour, definitely a very dark sort of murky, almost blood orange colour as well. So quite hazy again this one. The other one was really hazy as well, but as you can see there's a solid quarter, maybe third finger of a frothy, I would say kind of fawny, light beige coloured head on this one. That's going to fade away quite quickly though to just be a very thin foamy layer. There's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass there, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of where that head was. But I mean overall, in terms of an American amber, you're not going to get much more amber than this, but quite hazy compared to some of the ones you might get on the west coast. But I mean these beers are bottle conditioned I think, so yeah, nothing overly surprised about this beer. If I put my fingers behind the glass there you can see the degree of haze that you've got on this one. There's nothing really getting through that at all actually. So nothing overly surprising about the appearance of this beer. Let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Yeah, I mean this one, it's quite a reserved aroma actually, to be honest. There's nothing really jumping out of the beer at you in terms of aroma. It's quite subtle in a lot of ways. So yeah, I mean again, this is quite a bready beer. It's very smooth. It's almost a little bit more like a kind of slightly brown bready quality that's coming out of this. Definitely a little bit of caramel in there, a little bit of biscuit as well, and maybe one or two slightly woody notes to the beer. But again, it is actually very similar in terms of its malty characteristics to the Tuareg. And I reckoned with that Tuareg that it had German malts in it, and with this one I wouldn't be surprised again if it's like Weirmann from Bamberg or something like that that's in here. So it's got a very smooth bready note, but the breadiness in this one is a lot more kind of brown bready compared to what the Tuareg was. The Tuareg was definitely white bread rather than anything else. But yeah, the caramel's a little bit more prominent in this one. The biscuity notes, the more you smell this, the more prominent the caramel becomes. It does smell as if it's a little bit toasted as well, but definitely some nice kind of biscuity notes to the malt base also. On the hoppy side of things, it's a little bit earthy. There is a little bit of an earthiness to the beer. Some nice kind of floral aromatic notes in there as well. A little bit of a slightly piney resin, and you've also got a little bit of a grapefruity orangey note to this one as well. To me it leans a little bit more towards the oranges in terms of its aroma. Like I said to you, Summit can give you some nice orangey notes to the beer. But yeah, I would really say more orangey rather than grapefruit. You can get a little bit of the grapefruit, which is what you would expect from the Chinook of course, but mainly quite an orangey aroma with this one. I would guess maybe Chinook is being used as the bittering hop in this, and Summit is being used as the aroma hop. I mean, both of those are quite old school hops compared to some of the other ones that are out there now. Enigma, Galaxy, Nelson Sauvin, Citra, Sabro and all of these kind of things as well. So yeah, it does come across as a little bit old school, this one, but there's nothing wrong with that. I do like beers that take you back a few years when you're reviewing them and things like this. So yeah, fruity side of things definitely quite orangey. The green side of the beer a little bit earthy and a little bit sort of grassy and stuff as well. So yeah, let's have a taste of this one then and see how it got on. As I always say, take a bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But let's taste this now. This one is the Commandante, a 5.4% American Amber from Cerveza Ralf on Maria, or in Maria de la Salut, on the eastern part of Mallorca in the Baleric Islands in Spain. Let's get stuck into this one. Slàinte, skål, prost, salut. Nearly forgot that there. Oh yeah, that one almost has a little bit of a sharpness to it in the beginning. I don't think it's been oxidised or anything like that though, because the rest of it is all pretty solid, but I mean, the impact that that beer has is quite interesting actually, so pay attention to that when you try it. There is a little bit of a sharpness to this when you take it in. Yeah, that's quite interesting. I do wonder, maybe there has been like a teeny little bit of oxidation to this, just a tiny little bit when you take it in, but otherwise it's a really quite solid beer. This one, I've got that little fruit fly going around again, it's annoying. But yeah, in terms of an American Amber, it's quite different from what you would get actually over in California or Oregon or Washington or something like that. The American Amber was a style that really originated over in California, and then it's kind of grown a little bit from there. And again, it holds that sort of theme that I mentioned with the Tuareg, that it's quite bready and smooth, if you like. It's almost, it reminds me a lot of some of the German takes on the IPAs and things, and it's a very interesting period in Germany just now, because you know, you've got all of these brewers that are traditionally trained in Germany having a go at the American beer styles, and we talk about that of course because Ralf Brede is German, so it's almost this again is it's almost like an extension of the new wave of breweries that are opening up in Germany actually. But he's pulled off another quite nice beer with this one. It does have that almost kind of small scale homebrewed element to it as well, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean, it is another pretty damn solid beer, so thumbs up to Cerveza Ralf for this one. I wouldn't hesitate to drink that again actually. It's quite different compared to a lot of the things I've been reviewing recently, but when you've reviewed like 1900 beers, that's what you want. So yeah, let's try and break the flavour of this one down a little bit then. In the middle of your palate then, you get the middle, it's just blanketed with this nice bready quality. It's a little bit more kind of brown bready and bread crusty compared to some of the other things that compared to the other one, the Tuareg that we had before. This one's definitely a little bit darker in its bready qualities, but it still works really nicely, and you can feel that the further you go into the aftertaste with this beer, the more the middle of your palate dries out and becomes a little bit more grainy. But yeah, let's work in from the middle of the palate out again. So if you go to the very centre of your palate there, you'll get a little bit of a kind of sweet caramel note to the beer, and that lingers into the aftertaste. But then this fruit fly, get lost. You get a little bit more, the further you move out from the centre of your palate, you get a little bit more of a kind of biscuity note to the beer as well, and then you've got the grainy bread just kind of lying underneath it. The brown sugars that are in this come across as being a little bit more toasty and things as well, but I really like the sort of thickness that the malt base has in this beer. It's definitely not quite as kind of clean and oily, if you like, compared to the West Coast American Ambers. This is definitely more sort of bready, and as I said with the Tuareg, it almost has a bit of that German breadiness to it. But I compared that, I mean, the German beers, the lager beers, if we talk about those are always a little bit crisper than the Czech variants, if you like, but this is an ale, it's not a lager beer. It almost just has a little bit of that kind of bready Czech lager type quality to it as well, which is interesting. But there's definitely, for me, there is a wee touch. If you go to the front corners of your palate and move in a little bit, there is almost just a little slightly woody undertone to this one. But I would say overall, the sort of vibe that this beer gives you is kind of similar to what you get from the Tuareg. It's just a little bit more malty and caramelly and biscuity and things like that. But the malt base really does give off the same sort of vibe. So I like that about this beer. It's definitely got that kind of homebrewed kind of feel to it actually. So again, I do wonder with this if it's like US05 or Cefal or something that's in this. There's something that's really kind of old school and reminiscent, nostalgic I should say rather, about this beer for me. So it gets a thumbs up from me. The malt base in this is really quite nice. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate you've got a little bit of earthiness there. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, it gradually gets a little bit more herbal, and that's one of the characteristics of the Summit. It does have a little bit of a more herbal quality, and as you reach the front corners of the palate you can get a nice little bit of a slightly kind of piney, resiny quality, but at the same time it does have a little bit of a floral aromaticity coming out of it too. So yeah, interesting. And then round the very front curve of the tongue it's a little bit lighter and more grassy, but the sort of more complex part of this beer is that oily bubble behind the front curve of the tongue where the fruity esters push their way out of the beer. So yeah, in that oily bubble then, you get a little bit of sharpness in the beginning, then it just sort of fades away a little bit, but at the back of that oily bubble there's a little bit of that darker kind of grapefruity note there. And then as you move further forward from that, the grapefruit kind of pushes forward a little bit, but there's some nice kind of oily, orangey qualities from there again. As I said, that's a quality of the Summit hop. The grapefruit I think will be coming from both the Summit and from the Chinook, but Chinook is going to give you the more kind of stronger part of it. But the further you go into the aftertaste, the flavour almost just evolves a little bit, and you get a wee kind of you do almost get a little bit of a slightly kind of figgy, red fruity note out of this beer as well. So I mean, overall it's a really interesting kind of old school American amber, well not old school, it's a more kind of bready take on the American amber style, but it's the way the hoppiness comes out in this one is quite nice, but the way that the maltiness behaves is a little bit different actually. So just bear that in mind when you try this beer, but it's a nice take on the style. It's almost like an American amber but with a German or Czech breadiness I guess you could say, but I wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, so have a go at it for yourself. It does just take a little bit of time for it to evolve in your palate as well, which is nice. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, I would say that this is it's at the top end of mid-body. This is actually quite a thick feeling beer. Carbonation is fairly smooth. The mouthfeel overall, there is a degree of oiliness to it, but at the same time it's quite smooth, and there is a degree of wetness in there also. The IBUs, it tells you on the bottle actually that this one is 37 IBUs, and you know, in fairness, I probably would have guessed that it was about. I probably would have guessed it was a little bit higher. I probably would have thought this one was more bitter than the Tuareg was. I would have guessed maybe about 45, 50 IBUs for this actually. So this one's a little bit lower than you might get normally, but yeah, nice little bit of hoppy bitterness there. The malt base, as I said, has a good balance between smoothness and breadiness, a little bit of dry graininess the further you go into it as well, and some sweetness in the beginning, a little bit of sharpness to the fruity qualities in the beginning as well, but then it becomes a little bit more oily and then juicy the further you go into the aftertaste as well. But overall, a really nice take on the amber ale style, if you like. It's basically, it's got the hoppiness you expect of an American amber, but more the breadiness you would expect of a kind of German lager or something like that actually. So a really interesting beer this. It's a little bit old school as well. I do reckon maybe US05 or Cefal yeast in this. So yeah, but a very small scale brewery this one, and definitely cool to review something like this for you on the channel as well. So let's just leave it at that for this one. An interesting beer to review. Thank you again to Hannah for making this kind of Mallorca mini-series possible as well, and hopefully I can go over there myself and review some other beers at some point soon. We'll just need to see what life throws up for me over the next little while. But yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Cerveza Ralf as well. Do let me know some other recommendations of beers from the Baleric Islands and Mallorca, but this one was the Commandante, a 5.4% American style amber ale from Cerveza Ralf in Maria de la Salut on the eastern part of Mallorca in the Baleric Islands in Spain. Interesting beer to review, this one, and it's really cool to review random things like this for you on the channel too. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Make sure you check out my social media, and if you get the chance, have a go at some of these Cerveza Ralf beers. Until the next time, Slàinte just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slàinte, Skål, Prost, Salut.